Hi there, Mary Farias here, and we are doing our 5 minutes is better than nothing of personal development. We're studying my book, How to Study Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I'm continuing the story of the steel company that Napoleon Hill is quoting from the book. So I'm not going to be teaching during this just because Napoleon Hill isn't teaching either. He's just quoting a story. He says the financial magnetism that began a generation ago to attract thousands of small and sometimes inefficiently managed companies into large and competition crushing combinations had become operative in the steel world through the devices of that jovial business pirate, John W. Gates. Gates already had formed the American Steel and Wire Company out of a chain of small concerns and together with Morgan had created the Federal Steel Company. The National Tube and American Bridge Companies were two more Morgan concerns, and the Moore brothers had forsaken the match and cookie business from to form the American group Tin Plate, Steel Hoop Sheet Steel, and the National Steel Company. But by the side of Andrew Carnegie's gigantic vertical trust, a trust owned and operated by 53 partners, those other combinations were picayune. They might combine their heart's content, but the whole lot of them wouldn't make a dent in the Carnegie organization. And Morgan knew it. The eccentric old Scot knew it too. From the magnificent heights of the Skibo Castle, he had viewed first with amusement and then resentment the attempts of Morgan's smaller companies to cut into his business. When the attempts became too bold, Carnegie's temper was translated into anger and retaliation. He decided to duplicate every mill owned by his rivals. Hitherto, he hadn't been interested in wire, pipe, hoops, or sheet. Instead, he was content to sell such companies the raw steel and let them work it into whatever shape they wanted. Now, with Schwab as his chief and able lieutenant, he planned to drive his enemies to the wall. So, it was that in the speech of Charles M. Schwab that Morgan saw the answer to his problem of combination. A trust without Carnegie, giant of them all, would be no trust at all, a plum pudding, as one writer said, without the plums. Schwab's speech on the night of December 12, 1900, undoubtedly carried the inference, though not the pledge, that the vast Carnegie enterprise could be brought under the Morgan tent. He talked of the world future for steel, of recognition for efficiency, of specialization, of the scrapping of unsuccessful mills and concentration of effort in the flourishing properties of economies in the ore traffic of economies and overhead and administrative departments of capturing foreign markets. More than that, he told the buccaneers among them wherein lay the errors of their customary piracy. Their purposes, he inferred, had been to create monopolies, raise prices, and pay themselves fat dividends out of privilege. Schwab condemned the system in his heartiest manner. The short-sightedness of such a policy, he told his hearers, lay in the fact that it restricted the market in an era when everything cried for expansion. By cheapening the cost of steel, he argued, an ever-expanding market would be created. More use for steel would be devised, and a goodly portion of the world trade could be captured. Actually, though he did not know it, Schwab was an apostle of modern mass production. So the dinner at the university club came to an end. Morgan went home to think about Schwab's rosy predictions. Schwab went back to Pittsburgh to run the steel business for wee Andrew Carnegie, while Gary and the rest went back to their stock tickers to fiddle around with anticipation of the next move. It was not long coming. It took Morgan about 1 week to digest the feast of reason Schwab had placed before him. When he had assured himself no financial indigestion was to result, He sent for Schwab and found that the young man rather coy. Mr. Carnegie, Schwab indicated, might not like it if he found his trusted company president had been flirting with the emperor of Wall Street, and the street upon which Carnegie was resolved never to tread. Then it was suggested by John W. Gates, the go-between, that if Schwab happened to be in the Bellevue Hotel in Philadelphia, J.P. Morgan might also happen to be there. When Schwab arrived, however, Morgan was inconveniently ill at his New York home, and so, on the elder man's pressing invitation, Schwab went to New York and presented himself at the door of the financier's library. All right, that's it for tonight, and I will read the rest tomorrow. Have a great day.